Thank you for coming. We'll have kind of a busy press conference in terms of talking about, we played 2 games, and then we'll talk about our game against DC United Wednesday, May 6th. First, I want to talk about our game against the Red Bull on Thursday night, a game that we won 1-0. It was an interesting game with we talked about getting off to a good start after a very poor start in our previous game against Chicago, and we started very, very well. We obviously drew a PK and a red card and scored within the first 5 minutes of the game, and then had a whole bunch of chances to go up 2-0 and weren't able to convert, which kind of made for a little bit of a different game. I felt like if we had just gotten that second goal on a number of the different occasions, it could have been one of those games where it was 3 and maybe 4. But credit to New York. I thought they did a very, very good job with one player less to really make it hard on us. They dropped off. They played low pressure, and they really clogged the space of the field. And when that happens, you got to keep the ball moving quickly. You got to move it from side to side, isolate players, take shots from distance, do whatever you can to make the game faster and bring people out. But to their credit, they did a good job with it. And we had a couple counter opportunities that we were just a little bit off with our final pass. But at the end of the day, we got our 3 points that we needed, and then we moved on. Talking about the Toronto game, we knew it was going to be a hard-fought game, having had played 3 games in 8 days. Obviously, the surface in Toronto always makes for a little bit of a game where there's not a lot of possession. But having said that, I thought we had a very good first half. I thought we competed extremely hard. I thought we limited them to to very few opportunities, and we had an opportunity ourselves. Going into the second half, I felt like it was going to be a game that came down to a play or two, and we shut down for, we turned off a little bit for about 5 minutes, and they capitalized on that. And then we started pushing the game. They had a couple of chances because of that. But having said that, we had our chances at the end. Claudio had a great chance in the 90th minute that their goalkeeper made a great save on. Hercules Gomez had an opportunity as well. So we felt very unfortunate we didn't walk out of there with a point. But in terms of our performance, I thought it was actually a better performance than we played against New York, where we got the result. So a little disappointed we didn't get the point, but we move on and get ourselves ready for DC United on Wednesday, May 6th.
Kurt, you had, when you needed 2 goals at Chicago, you got them. When you needed a goal at Toronto, you didn't get it. Are you still looking for that consistency where you, if you need a goal, you can get it from somewhere?
Obviously you always want to be able to score when you need to. But I'm not discouraged at all. We've made a lot of moves. We made substitutions that have worked throughout the season. I thought the guys that came into the game also added good energy. We just, for whatever reason, fell a little bit short on that particular day, and that's going to happen at times. You just can't look into it too much. But we're going to continue to look at ways how we can be more dangerous and continue to score more goals, for sure.
But it seems like teams are, whether they have a reason for it or not, are really trying to take the punch to your team, literally. Guys are coming out pretty banged up. Is that something you're noticing? Is it something you're planning for at this point?
In terms of how they're playing physical? Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're a tough team to play against, and that's going to happen. But that's part of our league. I just encourage our players to roll up our sleeves and fight and give that stuff back. Every game has its different sets of challenges. Every game looks a little bit different, and there's certain games that are going to be ugly. You roll up your sleeves and fight. And I thought, a big part of the game in Toronto, that's what it was. There was a lot of fight out there, and that's, you gotta be able to, like I said, bring whatever the game demands.
Is Toronto one of those teams that just, for whatever reason this year, seem to have you guys just a little bit this year by
obviously, I can't say much because they took 6 points from us. I think they're a good team, but I don't think they have the best of us. I think I thought we played poorly the first game at home against them. I thought we played well enough to get points the last game, and so I look forward to playing them again. But credit to them, they're a good team.
How much of teams getting physical with you is partially maybe you're tough to play against and it gets a little frustrating for them, or is this just the character of some of these teams that are getting physical with you?
I don't necessarily have the answer to that. And like I said, I think every game has its different sets of challenges and they look differently. And but we all know MLS is a physical league, and you got to be able, you got to be able to show up and fight extremely hard for long period of time.
You've had these 10-day or 14-day layoffs between games.
Yeah.
How do you deal with it training-wise and preparation-wise for the next game? Does it get to seem a little far away? It does,
for sure. There's no two ways about it. It seems like it takes, it's a long way away. But, we look at the positives. I mean, the good thing is it gives certain guys that have some little bit of injuries some time to recuperate. And then it gives us time to work on the things we need to work on. I feel like we still at times can play quicker. We need to make up our minds before we get the ball and just be a little bit more precise in our passing. So we're spending a lot of time focusing on those things in training. So that hopefully translates into the game on Wednesday and then the game on Saturday.
Is there anything that you learned about like your rookies and your young guys dealing with that 3 games in 8 days and watching like the Wieslers of the world and just how they kind of
Yeah, I mean, first of all, our rookies are very even-keeled. I mean, if you speak about Matt Biesler, he's kind of beyond his age in terms of his maturity. But anytime you have a stretch of 3 games, you find out new things, and you find out things maybe you can do a little bit better, and you find out some trends of certain guys when they play a certain amount of games. So that always helps us because we have a stretch of games coming up, in early July where we have a lot of games. So we'll take note of that and help that and make sure that helps us as we get into the next stretch.
How about injuries? Can you talk about who's doing well and recovering?
Yeah, obviously Chance and Adam are coming along. Chance is out of his boot now and probably 2 weeks from training. Adam's still a ways away. Josh Wolf has a little bit of a muscle injury with his hamstring, and so does Davey Arno. As you saw in the game, he kind of played through a groin issue. So those 2 guys are not training at this particular moment. Jack Jewsbury is coming back from concussion and has trained. Today was his first day back. So other than that, we're feeling pretty healthy.